Hi, my name is Kylie Trammell, and I'm doing my presentation on exertional heat illnesses. Now, many of you may be wondering when heat illnesses occur. Most heat illnesses occur in hot and humid environments. However, they may occur at any time when the body is unable to cool itself to normal homeostatic levels. In sports, most heat illnesses typically occur in athletes who begin training in the late summer months. Some of these sports include football, soccer, and cross country. In the National Athletic Trainers Association position statement on exertional heat illnesses, 5 types of heat illnesses are listed. These are exercise-associated muscle heat cramps, heat syncope, exercise heat exhaustion, exertional heat stroke, and exertional hyponatremia. Exercise-associated muscle cramps often present themselves during or after intense exercise sessions as an acute, painful, involuntary muscle contraction. Heat syncope is a fainting episode or dizziness that usually occurs with prolonged standing or sudden rising from a sitting or lying position. Heat exhaustion is the inability to continue exercise associated with any combination of heavy sweating, dehydration, sodium loss, and energy depletion. This usually happens when an individual has been exposed to high temperatures anywhere from 1 to several days. Exertional heat stroke is an elevated core temperature associated with the signs of organ system failure due to hyperthermia. Exertional heat stroke occurs when the temperature regulation system is overwhelmed due to excessive endogenous heat production or inhibited heat loss in challenging environmental conditions, and can progress to complete thermoregulatory system failure. In addition to heat stroke, exertional hyponatremia is a heat illness that may be fatal if not caught early and treated. Heat hyponatremia is when there is a low sodium concentration in the blood. This condition may be caused by an excess sweat output consisting of water and salt and only water input, resulting in a very diluted solution. Since heat illnesses are very prevalent in certain sports athletic trainers are responsible for, the NATA provides several guidelines to help athletic trainers and other medical personnel properly care for his or her athletes. The first recommendation the NATA provides is to conduct a pre-participation exam to identify athletes who are at high risk for heat illnesses. Second, the NATA suggests to allow for an acclimatization period lasting 10 to 14 days. During this acclimatization period, athletes should progressively increase the intensity and duration of work in the heat. Third, the NATA suggests to educate parents, coaches, and athletes regarding the prevention, recognition, and treatment of illnesses. Athletes should also be educated to match fluid intake with sweat and urine losses to maintain adequate hydration. In addition, athletes should be encouraged to sleep at least 6 to 8 hours a night in a cool environment. Athletes should also be encouraged to eat a well-balanced diet that follows the Food Guide Pyramid and the United States Dietary Guidelines, as well as to maintain proper hydration status. Coaches and athletic trainers should develop practice and competition guidelines for extreme weather conditions using the wet bulb globe temperature or the heat stress wrist temperature and humidity graph. Athletic trainers and coaches should also avoid scheduling practice during the hottest part of the day, which is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. During practices, athletic trainers and coaches should plan ample amounts of rest periods based on the intensity and the length of practice. As you can see on the screen, the wet bulb globe temperature suggests activity restrictions based on the weather conditions. This is an example of the heat stress risk temperature and humidity graph. As you can see, this graph differentiates between the amount of clothing the athletes are wearing. The next NATA guideline is to provide athletes with ample amounts of fluids in order for them to maintain their hydration status. For high-risk athletes, weight should be measured before, during, and after practice to ensure a healthy amount of body water weight was lost and that it is to be replenished. The NATA suggests that for every 1 kilogram of body water lost during exercise, athletes should consume approximately 1 to 1¼ liters of fluid. Athletes should also minimize the amount of clothing worn in these hot temperatures. For example, a full football uniform prevents sweat evaporation from more than 60% of the body. When athletes exercise in the heat, they should wear loose-fitting, absorbent, and light-colored clothing. Mesh clothing and new generation cloth blends have been specially designed to allow more effective cooling. Coaches and athletic trainers should also minimize warm-up time and allow the team to practice in cool, shady environments or even indoors whenever possible. Athletic trainers should notify emergency medical services of the event taking place where an increased number of heat illnesses may take place. Lastly, athletic trainers should have a mandatory hydration check at weigh-in for sports requiring weight classes such as wrestling and rowing in order to make sure these athletes are not dehydrated. These guidelines may be very helpful in the athletic training clinic when taking care of sports who are at high risk to become victims of exertional heat-related illnesses. In the article, the NATA provides a prevention checklist for the certified athletic trainer, which may be used to help minimize the occurrence of heat-related illnesses.